Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I guess I'm going ahead. Welcome to Rock, Paper, Hand Grenades, the only show that you know that the hosts sleep under the desk. And sometimes they freshen up before each show.
Not that often,
But
no.
you can't be, well, I mean...
today it's only guys, so we didn't really have to,
separately, but in a good way. So anyway,
Yes. Yeah, so we didn't have to really freshen up, per se.
Have we inspired you yet? I know you're confused. We're glad you've joined us. We have a wonderful, particularly wonderful guest today, and I'll tell you why. Because
he showed up.
Well, showing up is half of it. So we're gonna throw him a little street cred there for walking through the door. Someone I've known for several years.
Look at my calluses.
Is originally a Jersey man, if I'm not mistaken. Did I get it right?
Nope.
Did I get it wrong?
No. You got it wrong.
Okay, I got it wrong.
Close enough.
He'll fix it.
I will.
Fix it. Mid-Atlantic.
That's where I moved up from, yeah.
Up from, okay.
Okay,
great.
wait.
So we have J.P. Marzullo here, who is a name that is very familiar to a lot of people in the political stratosphere here in New Hampshire. And one of the kindest and cleverest people that I've met in this state, in that world, and ever.
Cleverest.
So we're pretty proud to have him on, I'd say, don't you think?
Well, no, I'm trying to get you back off on all the compliments. The guy's running against me.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, we remember I told you before the show that we
I'm gonna keep
invited him on to tear him
gushing.
apart, not to build him up.
Yeah, I remember that note, and that's why I'm doing what I'm doing, just to see what you handle. How do you like Gary's haircut?
Yeah, Gary got his
He
haircut.
just stepped out of
He
the
told
barber.
me not to get a haircut.
That's a dirty word for me, and I don't know why.
He told me not to get a haircut. I said no.
I did.
I don't trust him enough.
That's exactly what happened last week after the show. Total, keep the long hair. It's working.
Yeah, I didn't. I didn't.
Or you can shave it.
It was great. It was like these long, light-colored
Wavy-
flowing locks.
wavy
You know what it reminded
silver-
me of?
what?
I just saw David Byrne, the lead singer of the Talking Heads, doing his own solo
love the
show in
Talking
Boston
Heads.
last night.
You did?
He had hair just like you used to have.
You used to a long time ago.
Up till today when you cut
earlier
it
today.
off. Yeah, he.
Anyway, this
put
is
on an
Eric
amazing show.
Eastman, Honorable Eric Eastman. I'm Representative Gary Harper, and our guest, J.P. Marzullo, is actually done some cool stuff. You've been working for Liberty House for a while.
Yeah.
Doing fundraisers and helping them out and all kinds of stuff. You're active in the Republican Party, and I hate you. Go ahead.
And by the way,
so thanks for having me here. Liberty House is my passion. It's transitional home here in Manchester for homeless veterans, and we take no federal funding, which we're very proud of. So we don't have to follow all of the crazy regulations. So we have zero tolerance in the house for drugs or alcohol.
That's a huge thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because if you got people in there that are trying to keep their head above water and stay clean and sober, and the federal government says, "Oh, well, yeah, they can use medical marijuana, and they can use this, and they can use that, and you can't kick them out." It's like, how can you?
Help them?
How can you help them?
Yeah, I mean, it's a transitional home. You're not going to be there forever, so they stay 3 months to a year. We once they're on track, with their health issues and what other issues they have, then we find them a job and we find them a place to live and make them active members of the community again. So it's worked out very well. I've been on the board now for.
So when are you going to become an active member of the community?
I was hoping to run, so now that I'm running, I guess I am.
Where are you running?
as far as I can go. So I'm actually Deering and Ware. There's 6 people running for 3 seats.
Hillsborough, District 2.
Yep, and
Brilliant.
two of the people are incumbents. Gary happens to be one, and the other one is Dan Donovan. So in reality, there's 4 of us running for 1 seat, and so it should be interesting. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Well,
it's not a direct competition. Is it a flotarial district yours?
No,
or
it's
not?
not.
It is not.
No.
No.
There's 3 seats.
3 seats.
There's,
Got it.
yeah, there's 3 seats. It's typically won by Republicans.
Okay.
Except for 1 year. It was really kind of funny. There's 1 year, Evelyn was the town clerk forever, and she ran for state rep when it was that district, and she won. She was the first Democrat that I ever remember winning.
Yeah.
Well,
so
she had brand recognition.
she had
People
a lot-
knew her. They
she's
trusted her.
She's a nice lady.
Sure.
And the thing is and she votes, and she's voting like on this. She's voting for anti-gun stuff.
Yep.
And I like her, so I went up Evelyn. That's like the third rail of politics in Ware and Deering. You don't vote against the Second Amendment. She just kept doing it.
And then was replaced.
And then, well, then
Did you
also,
run Floterial? Did you run?
well, that's just it. She had to had to move to, I think, the 55 and older area down in Goffstown.
Yep.
So I think she sold her house and moved down there because she needed to be able to afford it. And then she had to run for the Floterial against John Burt.
Yeah.
And John Burt did the right thing. He didn't attack her because she's a nice lady. He just said, "Well, this is how she votes."
Right.
And she got her clock cleaned. So that was the only chink in the armor as far as Democrats.
Yeah, I don't
since
ever
I've been up
remember. We've been up here 12 years. I don't ever remember a Democrat having any of those seats. And
Wow.
And that was
So-
there's the only one, and she only kept it for one term.
Yeah.
But so basically, right now you have Dave Recupero, he was on the show like a month ago, I think. I like him; he's a good guy. And then there's you. You're a good guy. I don't like you, but you're a good guy. Then there's who else is? Keith.
JP's approval numbers just went up. They skyrocketed. The moment you said that out loud.
I know.
All of
So we're
Manchester's
tracking.
listening.
I
Yeah,
should
we're
be
totally
careful.
live metrics. It's built
Yeah.
into the desk. I'm like, wow.
Then there's this Keith, what's his name?
Irf.
There's
a good one.
Yeah, I see.
Had a rough time in 8th grade, man.
I would.
Guys trying to make him say his last
All
name.
I can think of is the hobbits and stuff. But anyway.
Go Irf.
And then there's, like you say, there's Dan Donovan, there's myself, and then there's Lori Davis, who I think has not technically, but for all intents and purposes, bailed out of that race. So she isn't really running.
Right.
She's got some other stuff she wants to deal with, and so it's basically Keith, you, me,
David,
and Donovan,
Yep.
Dan.
All
So it's
competing for
basically
one seat or three?
Five. Really, it's five competing for 3 seats.
Yeah.
Okay.
They have assumed that I will get back in because I've been in there for so long, but I have also been pretty sick, so I haven't put any signs out, done anything. So we'll see.
I still have a
Honestly.
sign in my barn from last year, so I'll
Did
put
they
it up
make
for
good
you.
target?
Even on my, I know I didn't make yours a target. I made some other guys' targets, but not yours.
They make great targets.
I know they do.
Yeah. So that's the thing voters should know, that if you wait I think you have to wait at least 7 days after the election. If you still see those corrugated plastic signs out, they make awesome target stands. At that point, I don't think you're doing anything illegal taking them, but.
So I've
Well,
had, yeah.
somebody bought them, So.
Right.
But if they
Somebody
abandon
But
them,
they have, after a certain point after the
I
primary
actually think it's
election,
2 weeks after.
It's 2
the-
weeks?
Is it?
I
Okay.
believe it is. I'm not positive.
check
but
into it.
is.
I think there's a point in time they're kind of abandoned, and then
in some municipalities, they'll round them up.
yeah, they'll. Oh yeah, that's
They
what
take
you-
them to the.
That's what you should know. I shouldn't tell you this because you're the enemy.
No, I know where to go.
No, at
These-
Henniker.
Oh, in Henniker?
See, you didn't know.
No, I didn't
He
know.
didn't know.
I'm tricking them.
He tricked me into telling him.
Yeah, go ahead.
Politicking right here at
I
this
know,
desk.
it's
I can't
terrible.
believe
I
you,
know.
Gary, man.
Henniker, the DM
DOT.
DOT has a place up there where they have the sand and everything. It's if you go to the center of town and take a right.
Where the gravel pit is?
Is there a gravel pit? I think so.
Yeah, okay, I know where you are.
Anyway, over in that area, that's where your signs will be if they grab them.
Yeah, and if you put them anywhere near Route 202, if you're looking in Deering on that road there, they take it over to the DOT barn in Hillsborough.
Okay.
I know because I've had some taken down. I put up I really didn't start this in earnest until this week. Now, no one's paying attention.
Right.
And I'm tired
He's
of
got
having.
big signs too. I got a little. I'm feeling a little bit inadequate.
He's got good-looking signs with his iconic bow tie. I like that.
Yeah, I know.
like
And
that. That's a nice touch.
Getting me feeling kind of inadequate, to be honest with you. A little bit.
Well, now what they're
insecure.
doing, instead of just stealing signs, they're taking the wires and throwing the signs into the woods. So that's really nice.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I've had that happen already.
No
and
class.
I've only started about 3 days ago.
No
so.
class.
Anyway, yeah, because people donate money so that you can actually do this, right? So I always feel bad.
You have people actually donate money too?
I do.
Yeah.
I had a great campaign. I said, just send me $10. And
Yeah,
I've been getting $10. So
I asked people to send me 100,000. I
that's
haven't got it yet.
Probably not.
No.
I have a GoFundMe page saying I want a pony. Haven't had much
You
traffic
should
on that
talk
one.
to, what's the guy's name?
He
Supreme?
does. He's got pictures of him with
I want,
Vermin Supreme.
Yeah,
I want to
he'll
have
give
a
you a
pony
pony.
before Vermin and ride it
Okay.
and get him on my
Yeah.
bandwagon.
So
That'd be good.
Okay, so
A zombie pony.
we can't attack him because he's a nice guy and he does really nice things for other people like the Liberty House. So we got to find some chink in the armor. So what's your stand?
Oh my! I'm sitting here next to Sun
Here we
Tzu.
go. And actually, you better be careful because I'm driving my car and
Oh, yeah, I need
you
a
forgot
ride
about
home.
that.
I
You're going to
need a
need a ride home. I got a feeling.
Oh,
you will need a
I
ride
see.
home.
Oh,
Oh no, I
I
forgot.
think he's going to change his tune.
Yeah.
nice switch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
so-
You pulled some Aikido on you, Sun Tzu.
Yeah.
Sitting over there. How's that feel?
Well, I see your Sun Tzu and I raise you.
That's right.
Hey, so anyway, position on the Second Amendment.
I
Why is
support.
it? Why is it? What is it? Why is it?
Well, it's given us the right to have a weapon to defend ourselves, but it also has to do with a militia. If you look at the New Hampshire Constitution, which is probably almost stronger than the U.S. Constitution, we're actually told that if the government gets out of whack on you, that you have the right and should form a militia and to protect your rights. Second Amendment's really important. I also think it actually protects all the other amendments.
Yeah.
So that's how I look at it. I'm very strong pro Second Amendment. And I don't know too many people who aren't. Maybe it's because of the people I hang around with.
Yeah, that's
That may be part of it. So I've been doing some door knocking in the last few days, and
with guns, like you
with
have your guns
guns.
drawn.
well, I don't have to
no?
draw them. I just keep them in my pocket at
Yeah,
this
that's probably
point.
smart.
It wouldn't be
Yeah.
any different than the IRS. Yeah. Hi, we're here to help. Click.
Yeah, no, it doesn't quite work that way. But that's one of the questions
Yeah, if
that
you show
people
up with
people
guns,
will
I just
ask.
hand out tax money.
Yeah. Part of the government. You can count on me.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly,
I'm the government. I'm here to help
exactly.
myself.
Totally.
Yeah.
So, I mean, as you know, I'm striving to get on the ballot to run as, I don't want to divert the conversation, but to run as a progressive very earnestly in a different part of the state. And you mentioned the part of the Second Amendment that refers to militias
Yep.
and the purpose for militias and the different circumstances in which they're legit and you should have one.
Right.
And I don't know, part of me wants to devil's advocate, take you to task on that one because from my standpoint right now, I'm a little concerned that we have a National Guard. Is that not the militia? Do we not already have an armed version of that?
It's not the militia.
Why does every Tom, Dick, and Harry need to run around pretending it's Deadwood?
Deadwood? What's Deadwood? Deadwood. I thought that was like old guy.
It's a movie, I think.
Yeah, it's a
Isn't
place.
Isn't Deadwood
it's
like
it's
an
in North
old-
Dakota.
old
It's in the
guy
Black
who
Hills.
can't-
No, it's the stuff I threw out because I didn't burn my wood in my wood pile soon enough, and
That's
it got
Deadwood.
old and rotten.
Right.
Oh,
So-
that's Deadwood. Okay.
So
I'm
I'm
misunderstanding
debating a
the
little
word.
bit, but I'm curious. What would be your response? What's all this talk about being ready to form a militia when we already have one in place?
Well, I'm not sure the government-run militia is really our militia as the people. I mean, you have the National Guard. Yeah, they have a job to do and stuff. But if for some reason that should turn on us, we should still have the right to form. I'm not saying we go out and form a militia, but we have the right to do it.
Okay.
If the government gets so tyrannical that they're trying to change everything we're doing, I think the people I know would be more than happy to defend not only themselves but their communities.
Well, there's a lot of people running around whose response to the current executive branch would beg the word tyranny. They see a lot of, in their view,
Sure.
tyrannical behavior, and I can't say I necessarily disagree. So I can understand the zeal to want to be prepared.
Yep.
But there are
absolutely.
concerns about behavior of some people and screening people and all that. So
What do you-
that's another discussion.
Yeah. Like screen them when they come across the border, or just stop them?
no, gun ownership. But
I know
that's-
what you're saying.
Yeah,
What are you gonna? It is got to have there has to be a bill in the New Hampshire House about the printing and dissemination of information. Dissemination, spreading information. Is that dissemination?
No, that's the business down the street where you can go buy the means to have an in vitro child. Oh, that's I'm sorry.
That's insemination.
Yeah.
I hate you. Anyway.
That was an example of insurrection, by the way, just now.
Oh, that
Okay.
was,
Anyway,
yeah.
go ahead.
So
So
Back to
we should
dissemination.
get prepared for his attacks now, right?
he doesn't have to give me a ride home. So
He may have to if it turns
well,
out
actually,
that way.
that's true too.
So where were you
So
going
anyway,
with this?
Kathleen Rogers, Representative Rogers, is 99% chance she's going to try to pass a law or introduce law against three-dimensional, 3D printed guns, and/or the spread of the information to create 3D printed guns. What is your stand on that?
Despite the recent federal court ruling
yeah, I
saying
mean-
it's okay.
That's what
I realize that, but
Yeah,
that
I
never
mean,
stopped
if
them
it-
before.
And that's never stopped them in the state before, right?
Yeah.
From trying to put a bill through. I mean, they have the right to do that. I
I
don't
get
see.
that, but what's your stance on 3D printed firearms?
I'm fine with that. I mean, why not? I mean, what is the issue there? If we can go, if I can't get a 3D printed one, I'll just go to my local gun shop and buy one.
Right, but when you get one from your local gun shop, the difference is
They will.
they have a serial number
Right.
on it, and so that if that gun is used in
A robbery or
shooting like say the host of a program that you were on,
that I've been on.
and
you
left
mean?
at the scene of they could trace it back to
Yeah.
where the gun was manufactured, then where the gun was sold to, and then who bought it from that distributor.
So,
So
you know,
a 3D gun, there is no serial
Right.
number. So you could shoot us, not that I'm encouraging that, but you can shoot us, and then there's no record of where that firearm came from.
See, Gary really wants
So-
to have an action show.
Yeah,
yeah, I think he does actually. I'll bring targets next
this
time.
is all-
trying to increase ratings, all right?
This is all foreshadowing.
Don't hate me.
Oh,
So
I ain't hating it.
it's really it's too new for me to have all the information on it. But my first reaction is they have the right to produce that. Why should the government step in and stop from doing it?
So that delusional people can have an AR running around doing nefarious things. What would you say to that?
So that they can't.
So they can't have access to the ability to complete a Frankenstein AR-15 because you can buy most of the parts, as you know, legally and all that stuff. And there's
Right.
that vital part
Why is that Frankenstein?
because you had to put it together yourself on the table.
Yeah,
And
sort of
it's
like-
alive. Anyway,
He walks.
Yeah,
He walks.
it shoots.
Yeah,
No, I mean,
so
yeah,
I
but
don't
there's-
want that
wait,
delusional
wait,
person
yeah,
or,
but
or
there's no
certified
electricity
person not to
involved.
have an AR.
Frankenstein, they zapped him with electricity once the parts were all together. There's no electricity involved in.
But there's printing.
So,
So
so I don't know about Frankenstein.
Well, the Han Solo
necessarily.
blaster is right around the corner, so that too
Oh,
will
okay.
be 3D
All right.
printed.
Yes.
yeah.
See what I did there?
Yeah, I did say
Anyway,
that was
we're
an
off topic.
interesting transition. But
Yeah.
go ahead.
Now, is it a good idea to let anybody who has the IT knowledge of downloading the blueprints and happen to have access to a 3D printer from being able to make that vital part for an AR-15, complete it, and have one? What if that person really ought not to be toting?
But who are we judging? How do we judge that person?
Well, there's
I mean,
been a
it's
lot
a
of talk
mental.
about, yep, sure.
Yeah, I mean, if
mental
you're going to look at
impairment.
mental impairment,
Yeah.
but that's not any excuse to go out and shoot people either. It's just that we know that
course.
there's a lot of work we need to do that and feel. I have, I haven't got enough information. Obviously, it's been ruled
wait,
it can go.
Where did you grow up? Where did you?
Where did I grow up?
Yeah,
He's
where-
qualified.
Next to my mom and dad, probably.
Yeah.
I think
I
I
don't
grew up.
think- I don't think they necessarily admit to that.
I
Go
know,
ahead.
but they're
What
long
state?
gone. So I grew up in Connecticut, and I grew up in an extremely wealthy town.
Okay, in Connecticut.
Kidding.
Yeah, so I'm more like a. I grew up on the border in New York City. I grew up in Greenwich, Connecticut.
good.
Now you're supposed to roll your eyes and go, "Oh, Greenwich,
Brother.
Wilton,
Wilton.
Wilton. There you go. So that's where I grew up.
Okay,
No
so my
That's
question is,
Same county, folks.
in that area,
Yep.
did you ever hear of any kids that made zip guns?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
I
heck
remember.
yeah.
I remember
Okay.
zip guns.
right. So why is that
Different.
any way, or even remotely different than the people's ability to already create zip guns?
Right.
Because they've been doing it for
They
100
have.
years.
They were huge.
So therefore, there's no difference. We don't
Gang weapon of choice.
Other than swords.
we don't pass legislation to say you can't sell the blueprint for a zip gun.
No, nor do we pass legislation for that you can't design something that might end up being some type of a firearm.
Right.
And so I just think that's
Or some type
kind
of a weapon at all.
Right.
I mean, in Britain, they've instated policies that you can't carry knives publicly.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
so
yeah.
we-
Knives
I
are a
mean-
big
And next
one.
will be spoons, probably.
it'll be
No,
spoons.
actually no. The next one in England will be is I'm sure acid. 700 people in
Yeah,
the
that's pretty
London
horrible.
area
Had
were
acids.
attacked with acid
But they're
last
trying
year.
to fix the problem with legislation and trying to legislate the.
Yeah, and that's really working great for them, right?
Yeah, yeah. We'll change human nature by putting something on paper.
Yeah.
That's a
But
good idea.
They tried, and so I mean, it is a slippery slope. I
Yeah, it
agree.
is.
So the zip gun argument stands up. I'm glad you brought it up.
No, I think that's a good argument, actually, because
I got it from Tommy Sharps today.
so you're not
pretty
even
good.
going to take credit for that.
No,
Okay.
I didn't
What
even come up
caliber,
with
if you had to assign a caliber to most zip guns, would they be? Somewhere between a Daisy BB gun and a 22? I don't know.
Or a
22.
cap gun and a Daisy BB gun, maybe.
Yeah.
No,
I don't think.
no,
it,
they used
well,
to
they
shoot
could
Shoots a
shoot.
paper clip, you know.
I think they used to shoot
22s.
shorts.
Yeah, 22
shorts.
Yeah. Wow. That's,
Oh yeah, so
Yeah.
that'll kill
That's
you. just
nasty.
as- oh yeah.
Yeah.
that's a gun.
We used to throw rocks at people. I mean, when we had fights, they were usually a rock fight. So
Is there
So
any
that's how you
video?
guys did it down in Greenwich, huh?
exactly.
In Wilton.
On the
In
blue.
Wilton.
Well, on the other side of the tracks where I grew up in Greenwich,
Right.
we had to throw rocks. The kids on the other side of the track typically had 22s or really high-powered BB guns.
Sacre
So
bleu.
we were
Wow.
In Greenwich.
like, oh yeah,
That's kinda cool.
So why
Wow.
why did you show up for a gunfight with a knife, so to speak?
That's what
Well,
they-
I couldn't
that's what
afford-
they had, dude.
Which kind of
my father made
I'm
wood
just-
guns for us, by the way, that you could load on a one of those
Rubber band.
big butt rubber bands, right?
Right.
So that
High
might have
caliber
been
rubber
that
band.
might have been sort of the first design paper gun. My father would even make a machine gun for me, figuring that heck I'd shoot more rubber bands at people. So he's
Right,
a pretty
right.
cool
It had
guy.
the wheel.
Yeah,
and
it
you
did. He had a
rotate-
wheel.
that. Maybe the coolest kid on the
So
block.
you were so you've had. He's my opponent, so I got to.
He's not your opponent.
not your
There's
opponent.
there's several seats.
no.
You're going to get yours back.
So
There's two more.
So
There is.
when did this violent tendency subside, or has it?
What violent
When did
tendency?
you when did you start?
He's
I switched to spitballs after the rubber
Wow.
bands.
That was very politically
but now
astute.
we can't do it because they have got rid of plastic straws. Do you know how hard it is to shoot a spitball out of a paper straw? Not good.
They didn't get rid of all plastic straws,
No,
dude.
wait,
Meet me
wait.
after the show.
Okay,
Back
cool.
alley.
Black market plastic straw.
Bendy.
Hey, you know what?
Bendy's?
I got the swirlies.
Panera still has them. You
swirlies.
can get plastic straws
they?
at Panera's.
Wow.
Yeah. I went in for a lemonade and took 45 plastic
I'm going to
straws.
go there, take
45 plastic straws.
I'm going to take pictures and then start a hashtag,
Plastic
campaign
straw.
against plastic straws at Panera, see how they feel about it.
Oh, no, that's not a good idea. Let them have it. Let them have it.
Hey, so anyway, other issues. What's
Take a picture of myself holding up a bendy straw. Come and take it.
Oh, yeah.
Molten
It's a good
lava.
idea.
do you think any super weak on that we can attack him relentlessly about?
What is this attack fetish you got?
Yeah, he's in a
And you're conflating rubber bands with a guy's violent tendencies. God, have you
Yes.
ever swatted a fly? What's wrong with you? You hurt my
No,
heart.
he said no.
You hurt my
He
heart,
said
Gary.
no.
I know. You
So-
don't have one. Anyway, are you you're pro-life?
I am pro-life. Why? Because I think we're blessed to be able to have a life, and I just think that you're killing the unborn if you abort them at any stage of the game.
Okay.
So I
zy-
definitely feel.
zygote.
Yeah, because here's the thing that
embryo. That's
Still life.
synonymous with human life.
Yeah. So here's the thing, and here's the argument I make. Some of the people on the left will say, well, it's not really a living entity until the 21st month or whatever, right? But yet the scientists will look at a blob of stuff on Mars and say there's life on Mars.
Right.
So to me, that's a little disingenuous, the approach that they take with that. But
yeah.
no,
one is they hope it's life just to I don't know why they're so hopeful about
so
it.
they can raise some money for
More
moon shots and
explorations to
Mars
Mars,
shots.
yeah.
So we agree that a woman's right to choose what to do with her body in all circumstances still holds, absent abridging some other individual's right to life, liberty, and
Right,
pursuit
and
of
that's-
happiness.
exactly.
Is that
Yes.
Is that the rub?
Yep.
So we got to figure out when does human life
Did
start.
we
That's
have to
really
use
what
the
it all
word
comes
rub?
down to. I knew that would bait you, and I knew you'd go there, and I knew I'd have to say to you after.
So I know that.
We have to figure out when it starts, and that's where the big argument is.
Hey,
People
I heard I saw something online, and I know it's online, so I know
it's true.
it has to be true.
Right.
So it was really cool that And like I say, I don't know how accurate this is, but if it's true, it's just amazing. It was that the moment the egg is fertilized,
Yep.
it actually lights up. There's actually a spark, like it illuminates. I heard that, and like I say, I don't know that that's actually accurate, but if it's true, it's beautiful.
I almost just pulled a Spock and raised my eyebrow and said fascinating. and in the most heartwarming way possible. And I'm not being sarcastic. That actually, I find that shocking. If it's indeed true.
So light of your life, is that part of the?
But no, I think you're right. I mean, as soon as
it's a little Big Bang.
A little Big Bang.
A little Big Bang.
Yeah, as soon as well, it's actually just amazing because you have what is it, like 3 billion pieces of information coming from the man and 3 billion from the woman coming together, and somehow within seconds it starts saying, okay, I'll take this one, this one, this one, and this one. they divide it up or whatever. I don't know if it, what the actual.
They pick sides.
They pick sides, and
I'm gonna quote him out of context later, and I'm gonna make a video saying everything he just said word for word, like Carl Sagan would.
Yes, exactly.
Perfect. Oh yeah, billions.
Within seconds, you have an entirely unique genome. An entirely new creation, and then it starts splitting and reproducing itself.
Yep.
And it's
pretty
just
cool.
it's so not probable that happened because of some accident in some primordial ooze 2 billion years ago. That's not even logical.
So the sanctity of human life arguments. I mean, I've heard it said that the only thing that differentiates, an embryo.
Why do you have to do this when you do that?
Because my sleeves keep riding up.
Oh, okay.
You don't have any sleeves.
I'm demonstrative. JP understands.
I do.
He does. That the only thing that separates an in vitro human being, if we're going to agree that that's what they are at all times since conception, is time, place of residence, and capacity for independence. That's it. Those are the three things.
Capacity for
ability to live independently of its life support system. So to speak.
But that's we're all that way.
That's what I'm saying. Every nothing
human
separates you
is
from
dependent on a certain life system to exist. If they take JP, hopefully before the primary,
I think you missed me.
and throw him out into space, he can't exist.
I'm doing the cartoon in my head. It's JP.
He's out there, like in the 2001: Space Odyssey, like that.
Oh yeah,
totally.
I could do that. That'd be fun.
But
that should be your campaign ad.
It should be.
That'll play.
It could be.
That'll play endearing.
Oh yeah.
Don't disparage Deering. It's my favoriteest town.
Because
I love Ontario.
Except for
I'm just thinking there's not a lot of spacey people there. Just a guess.
Just a guess.
From this Nashua.
Oh yeah, because was it 2 years ago they had somebody from Deering spotted Bigfoot. Remember that?
I
Why
do
did they
remember
put a
that.
spot on Bigfoot?
Huh?
Put a spot on him so they could
They
find
didn't
him
put a
again.
spot on him.
They spotted
They
him.
spotted him. They noticed. They saw.
I'm like, who wants an Appaloosa Bigfoot?
Right.
It's kind of silly looking.
Exactly. All right. It's a deep show.
It is deep.
It is really deep. It's not.
I'm waiting for the.
You said you hated the guest. I'm trying to keep you off balance here.
Yeah. Well, the other. Yeah. Right. Exactly. So I should be asking you questions. So why are you running again?
Against you?
No, you're not running against me, but you think you are.
No, to keep you out.
To keep me out?
Yeah.
Good luck.
That's why.
Oh, I love this. I love this guy. This guy, Connecticut.
So yeah. So
actually, we want to know the truth.
Sure, I do.
Okay. The reason I run again is because I've been up there for so long, and I have seen so many people, and that go up there and they're good, conservative, they're Christian, they've got all this pedigree, this wisdom. They go up there and they just compromise, and they become part of the system. They have almost, well, you saw it. The best example of that was Marcy's Law
Yeah.
passing through the Senate,
Yep.
20-3.
Yep.
It was so amazingly, I can't say it was unconstitutional because if it passed, it would have been part of the Constitution. But it was so amazingly contrary to the Constitution,
spirit of the
to the
Constitution.
spirit of the Constitution. On any way you look at that, that was an abomination.
Well, it wasn't bomb.
And it passed the Senate 20-3.
Yeah.
There's
I
a lot
know-
of arguments for the intent behind that doggone thing. But
I don't
yes,
care what intent there is if the bill or
That's why we
legislation
have bills.
itself is so horrible.
Yeah, the language
intent
wasn't-
is irrelevant.
It wasn't soup yet.
It wasn't
soup
even-
yet.
no.
It may never be soup, but
Hopefully
they tried
not.
to make
But
soup.
anyway, I know a lot of those people that are state senators on both sides of the aisle, and I always thought they had the utmost of integrity until that just sailed through.
Yeah.
Why did it sail through? It sailed through because the governor wanted it. What's her name for the women's abuse thing wanted it, and there was money behind it, and it just right through. And the reason I run is because I am one of the few people that I know will stand up to regard. I don't care who introduces legislation. It is irrelevant to me who introduces legislation. The only thing that's relevant to me is how it's going to affect the people. Is it constitutional? Things like that. A person's name on the legislation is nice. It gives me, if it was like Bob Guida's name's on it,
Yeah.
I assume it's probably credible.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
But I'm not going to pass it because Bob's on it.
Right.
But they do. And it happens all the time. And I'm one of the few people that are willing to just say, no, I'm sorry.
So you're saying people with a solid value set get elected, they go up there and they end up playing politics.
They play politics.
They stick around.
And,
Yeah.
and it's horrible. It's like when I filed a bill of address my second term to get rid of Wayne Vedder. You know how many Republicans attacked me? It was relentless. The guy was abusing his office. He was abusing the women in his office. He was abusing his position and taking advantage of the people in New Hampshire. They all defended him. Why? Because he was very politically well connected. That's how he became director of Fish and Game.
Yeah.
And as soon as I attacked him, all the Republicans that were like, a lot of them were friends of mine, just turned on me like on a dime.
Yeah.
I've seen
Okay, so that type of reason, having people will stand up for what's right regardless of who's on the opposite side of that table. I have more respect for a lot of Democrats now than I do a lot of Republicans because they have integrity versus politics.
You know, I'm glad you said that, given the fact that I'm doing my
Not
thing.
you. I did not put you
I
on
know-
that
I know
list.
you
I didn't
didn't.
even think of you when I said it.
No, I know. Not everything's about me, but most.
So, and that's
Not everything.
No, what I'm saying is I'm glad that you understand that it comes down to integrity and consistency. But I think the criteria list for what constitutes that integrity when somebody does go up there doesn't necessarily just revolve around whether or not they're a proven conservative or whether or not they're churchgoer. You know, do they genuinely care about?
Well, I point out the churchgoer because if you're a churchgoer, if you believe in Jesus Christ, the only thing you should be subject to is His will. And if that's the case, man's will becomes absolutely, positively not even secondary.
Yeah, no, I get it. That's the compass.
And that
That's
should
true
be the
north.
compass. That's true north.
got
And it's
it.
a great true north. And if that's somebody's true north, they stand in solidarity with most of the founders of the Constitution, and that's a great thing. But when they have that true north, and then they get up and somebody threatens, I had legislation, I think it was my first term, on marriage to try to tighten up the laws on no-fault divorce. Because as you know, the biggest problem we have in society in across racial boundaries is the biggest problem is fatherlessness.
Yep.
If you look at all the crime, everything that's going on in society that you can look to and see how society has deteriorated, fatherlessness is like top of the list of why. So I introduced legislation, but I had a born-again Christian in the back of this hall telling me he would have voted for it with me, but he's in leadership. So he conceded.
Wow.
He conceded his moral obligation because he wanted to keep his parking space.
Incredible. Well, that won't happen. That won't happen with me. Well, and I'm glad you do. I mean, he's been my state rep, and I've been proud to say that he's done pretty much everything I would have done. We'll have our disagreements with some things.
He tells me what to do, and I say, yes, sir.
So it's hard for me.
See how I completely contradicted everything I said in the last 5 minutes?
In 3 seconds.
That one's
Well, I think the real issue is, though, Gary, as you know.
What an education this show is.
I know, it's like,
what.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. So the real issue is.
These are the people making the rules
Can you?
of the sandbox.
It's kind of scary, isn't it? Oh my
which
God.
we all play.
Yeah.
Sorry, JP.
And
No,
soon,
that's okay.
and soon, JP. Thank God.
Yeah. So I really think that one of the things that I hope I can bring to the State House is that kind of integrity. I know what my core values are. We may not agree on everything. I'm willing to listen. I'm not going to change my core values because somebody tells me to.
Yeah.
I'm not really good at being bullying. That's hard for people to do with me, even though they try several times. I come from a large Italian family, and in my family, confrontation is a sport.
Right.
So
right.
if there's going to be confrontation, I'm good with that. I grew up doing
It's
that
a
at the dinner
communication
table.
tool.
Yeah, it is, and you have to use your hands, obviously, or you don't get your point across, right?
Snap out of it.
So yeah, I mean, all kidding aside, I mean, I think I spent most of my political time here trying to get good conservatives elected.
Yeah.
And I always felt I could do more outside of the system than I could do inside. So what changed it this time? What changed it was...
I didn't ask you that.
I'm telling you why.
He's
though.
doing a great job interviewing yourself, man. You've been all over the...
This is
You've
like...
You've been all over the galaxy.
This is called diverting and talking about what you want to talk about. So,
yeah.
right? I mean,
Yeah,
so that's
good
how
point,
it
good
works.
point.
So,
He's smooth.
the
He's
veterans
smooth.
at Liberty House, I've done pretty much everything I can do on that level right now. I think there's still room for improvement.
Yep.
We're looking at another house on the Seacoast. We have people that are helping us now financially, which will be great. But in reality, I think I can do even more if elected to the House, to get onto the Veterans Commission and to maybe change some of the ways they look at things. And also homelessness. I think that's something we kind of brush aside. And in Manchester, they plowed it aside,
Right.
which I was infuriated with. No plans to know what to do with these people, but let's get them the hell out of the area. And I mean, I actually had some friends who own businesses who were arguing me about that. Well, they're on the street, it's hurting my business. I'm saying, so you're tearing down their tent city, and by the way, a lot of those clothings and tents that they tore down, we gave those people from Liberty House.
Right, yeah.
So the community gave to us. They're very gracious. We gave it to the homeless, and there's a lot of homeless veterans living in that tent city because they still can't get past the stage of drug addiction, alcohols. We service about 150 of those people a week. They come in, we give them coffee, clothing, whatever they need, food, but they'd rather camp out. So, but at least we're doing our part in
Yep.
it. And I just think people in the State House have to take a look at what's really important in the state. And I've talked to a lot of people over the last 3 days knocking on doors. And that's one of the issues, taking care of our veterans, whether it be for homelessness or taking care of the rest of our veterans who can't even go to get the same health care I can.
Right.
So I'm passionate about that. That's what I want to focus a lot of my energy on in there. And healthcare, I've spent 40 years in healthcare, so we still need to fix that. But I want to fix it for the veterans first.
Right.
They deserve it, and we're not really doing our job there.
This
We're
is
really
off
not.
the charts good stuff to hear. I'll tell you, that was my committee when I was in
Oh,
the House.
I didn't know that. Okay.
So I got a very soft spot for that. You'd
Yeah.
be a great addition. And also, by the way, folks, you're hearing the voice of practical compassion, practicality and compassion put together, and initiative. And a lot of times people pigeonhole folks with an R after their name in politics, Republicans, as lacking that quality. Well, guess what? You heard it here first. That's not the case. This is about solution-oriented thinking and the compassion that gets it done. So I'm impressed. I'm running in another part of the state as a progressive. It's got nothing to do with your campaign, but this progressive takes his hat off to you.
Thank you.
It really does.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Thank you.
This doesn't help me any in my life.
So Gary's in trouble now.
Oh, we're taking this whole show away from you, Gary.
Why did he? Who invited him? That's what I
You've been
wanna
on
know.
Pluto for the
No, but seriously though, Gary's done a great job in there.
No, he has.
And I like the fact that he does stick to his core values. And I know there was a couple of tough votes for him to make on right to work, for instance. I know people went after him. People would say to me, "What's wrong with him?" And I'd say, "You know what? If that's the only thing stopping you from voting for him, that one issue shouldn't do it. Look at everything else he's done that's been positive." And that's how you have to look at people. I'm sure I'll make some votes that people aren't going to like, but I'm not going to change my value just because of that. So,
Right.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I compliment you on that as well. See, I'm being nice to him because
He's
I
trying to
want to make sure I'm trying to,
I'll pump him up.
make sure
Yeah,
this goes
that's
out on
nice.
the air. is what
Yeah,
he's worried
that's-
Keep your
about.
enemies
that's-
closer.
That's exactly right. That's exactly what I'm worried about.
So wait, we got to come up with another issue that we can nail him on.
All right,
Something-
all right.
What else?
You want to go back to zip guns, or are we done there?
No, we're done with zip
we're
guns.
done
Okay,
with
that's
zip-
good.
Zip guns.
Oh my God.
What other
So how
issues?
about we just talk?
Opioid crisis.
What about it?
Are you in favor?
Favor of more crises?
That's an interesting question.
Oh,
the way
gosh, that is
the way
so
you put it
wrong.
out there.
That was so
So I should
wrong.
divert and talk about what I want
I
to
mean,
do.
the way
now.
you said it, it's almost like the only thing you left him with was awesome.
Oh my God.
Let's go to Canopy Lake Park. No, opiate crisis.
So are you saying? Are you asking me if we have a crisis, or are
I
you
am
just?
not mentally stable.
Y'all having fun? Good.
Yes, we are for sure.
It's so wrong.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. I
No,
hate you.
and I can just see
I'm gonna
some
vote against me now.
super indignant person, who,
Oh, yeah,
who
that- yes,
is
I
fond of
know.
moons and bats, watching us laugh about the opiate crisis.
yeah, I know, that's why it
And-
was so bad.
And getting
Anyway.
all upset about that. No, we
let's-
actually care.
So the opioid crisis.
Yeah. Do you have any?
Well, I I
Working
think
at
Liberty House.
Liberty House, you must run into that there too.
We really don't, because by the time they come to Liberty House, they're done with that. That's what we pray.
No, I
And-
mean I'm talking about the people coming in and out.
Well, yeah, of course. I mean,
They're coming to
obviously-
get tents and things.
Right. Yeah, we do get some of that. I don't think, and this will start an interesting conversation. I don't think throwing money at that is the solution.
Okay.
I don't really think we've addressed this in a common sense way. We should be spending, instead of spending more money on administrators and more bureaucratic nonsense, we need to get down with the people that are going through this. I have friends who have lost their loved ones, their
Oh,
kids,
yeah,
and I'm
kids.
sure you do as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
And but they will tell you that they did everything they could to stop them, but they could not get past a certain level until they finally turned them in. They would help them, not take the opioids, but help them with things. Mom, I need
wanna-
$20. I need whatever.
Sure.
And so. But we don't have anything, I don't feel we don't have the right things in place at this time. We talk a good game. It's like the other day I read where the people were sitting around, we're going to get $23 million more for opioid crisis. And so all these people were standing in the room and they were trying to figure out how to use that $23 million. Don't you think they would have?
Oh, man.
Don't you think they would have done that first, and then maybe they can do it for $6 million? I mean, I don't know.
Isn't
But-
that what a new enterprise with a business plan does when they're looking for investment capital?
Yeah.
They say, here it is.
Right.
This is the blueprint for what
Right.
we're going to do with
You know
that
what?
money.
One of the
And that bothers me a lot.
Should the state should do
just-
the same
I'm
thing?
gonna because we've done shows on the opioid crisis. We've had people in recovery on the program,
Yep.
and it's something that's as ridiculous as I am. It's something that's really near and dear to my heart. And I will tell you one of the biggest problems with it, and people will not believe it. I am telling you that the biggest problem with the opioid crisis is because people are looking at it like it's a mental, physical condition.
Right.
Okay, the physical part is you can remedy within 20 days.
Right.
The-
It's like other
the-
programs.
The
that-
physical addiction, 20, 30 days, something like that.
Right.
The part that they can't address because it's a state, and the state will not encourage or they shy away from any spiritual solutions.
Yep.
alcoholism and drug addiction and heroin addiction is a spiritual disease. It is a disease of the spirit. It is almost, and you can talk to different addicts, it is almost as if it's a separate entity from the person that is holding them down and wants to kill them. It's evil. It is evil incarnate. And the solutions to the opioid and drug problem and alcohol problem are spiritual. And the physical, the state can pay for somebody to go through a 28-day program. That's easy. The problem is it's a spiritual disease that's a disease of that person's spirit. And if they don't get spiritual help to overcome that, they will always be going back for another day, 28-day program until one time they don't make it back and they are a statistic. That is where the real issue lies. It is a spiritual disease, and it's killing people. And the state and the politically correct mentality of not allowing the state to enter into agreements with religious organizations, which is really where the solution is. The Alcoholics Anonymous works only because it is it says in Alcoholics Anonymous, through a spiritual awakening, that's the key, people get sober. People who try to get sober and do all the mechanical correct things, they're like on the edge. They're like living their life on this cotton-picking razor edge, almost able to drop off at any moment. As soon as they have that spiritual awakening where they concede their will over to God, and God starts helping them
as
recover
they understand God.
and cure the inner soul, so to speak, that's when they have true recovery, and they push further and further away from that razor edge that they were living on for the last X number of years. But that's where the real solution is, and the people in Concord aren't even coming close to addressing it. They can't even, I don't even think they can talk about it.
So let's put more good people in the State House who are cognizant of those factors and can help to enlighten the policymakers to how best to spend the money.
Yeah,
I do see it all the time at Liberty House.
Yeah, I do.
And I don't think it's necessarily the people that are on the streets, but in Liberty House you see, and you see it in vets, a lot of vets who have had some seriously horrible things happen to them.
Yep.
There's this spiritual darkness that owns them.
So we have a chaplain now that comes in.
And you can do that because you don't have any federal funding.
Exactly. And the other thing is that we do lose some. Okay?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, and part of that is we're trying to build I would like to see us, and the board seems to be leaning this way a little bit, is have a community center where veterans can come back to after they've gotten out. Right?
Good idea.
So that way the camaraderie is still there. They feel they're part of a family. Think about this. They're part of a family of 10 people in a house.
Yeah.
And some of them leave earlier because they find a job. We find them a place to live and they leave. Now so every night they see 5 or 6 of their brothers at the house, and they talk about things that are pertinent to them, and then they leave and they get an apartment and they come home at night and they look at 4 walls. They don't have the same structure around them, family structure, if you will. And so that's what we're trying to do. I mean, I would love to see us be able to put up some type of a veteran center where they can come by, play ping pong, pool,
whatever,
shoot the bull, whatever they want to do, and feel like they're still, because I'll tell you, the Residence Art House understand giving. They understand giving.
Yeah.
And that helps them a lot. That cures a lot of the issues they're having. They help give.
Go back to the spiritual part.
Yep.
If you were Satan, what's the easiest way to take somebody down? What's one of the basic fundamentals of warfare? Is that you separate,
disconnect,
and then destroy.
Right.
Disconnect, destroy.
Right.
You're absolutely right. That disconnection, and then the thought that is never quite far enough away from them that they can completely disconnect from it, comes back in. It gets very dark very quick. You're right. You need that family. You can't letting people get isolated because veterans are in a very weird position because some of them have done things that are so so horrible
Yep.
that most people would not comprehend and would judge them if they found out.
Sure.
It's like it's
Totally contrary to the value system they were raised with.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'll tell you, talked to someone the other day whose main job was to kick down doors over in Afghanistan. And he said the first time I had to do that, I was frightened to death.
Yeah.
And he said, and the result of that was some of the people he had to kill, all ages, all sizes, whatever.
Yeah.
And he said, I walked away never thinking I could ever do that again. And it affected me.
Of course it did.
And he's out now, but it's incredible the stories you hear from them if you can get them to open up.
Yeah,
And part
if.
of it is we have, you know, a full-time caseworker there, and part of that function is to get them to open up a little more. And if they feel comfortable with their surroundings, with their brothers, they will open up.
Yeah.
But it's incredible what you find out. It's just amazing. It's hit my soul. It's made me realize how blessed I am for what I have. And these guys are fighters. They want to do what's right, but sometimes they just can't quite
it's
do
tough.
it. It is tough.
It is a heavy burden they're carrying.
Absolutely. And not really getting the kind of help they need, I don't think. Throwing money at it is not the answer. And I do agree with you. It can be a spiritual thing for most of them, but they have to have that guidance somehow.
Yep.
And so that's, you know, we've taken some steps there too.
It's the same principle in Alcoholics Anonymous. In Alcoholics Anonymous, the reason that it works is because it's people that have been through the same thing.
Right.
If somebody, if an alcoholic hears, let's say somebody went into a closed meeting, so to speak.
Yep.
And they heard somebody get up and say, "Yeah, I was drunk one night and I killed the woman and her kids."
Right.
Right. Every other alcoholic in that room is going, "Oh gosh, I'm so glad that wasn't me."
Right.
Right.
That's interesting.
In a public setting, it's like, what a dirtbag.
Right.
So, on one hand, it's
Right.
there, but for the grace of God
Go
go
I.
I. On the
Right.
other hand, it's complete judgment. And
Yep.
it's the same thing with the veterans. They did some things that they can't talk about.
And they're certainly not proud of it.
No.
They did things that you wouldn't expect a human to do with another human.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So
yeah.
it's
Under
been
orders.
Under
order.
orders. But I've learned a lot from them. I've learned an awful lot of what they're going through. We would like to have, at the center, we would also be able to have our own AA meetings there so that they can go within the community that they're familiar with.
Hey, JP, we only got 2 minutes.
Go.
How can they contact you if they want to get in touch with you and donate money to my campaign?
So the best way to contact me is really by Gmail. It's jp4, FOR, New Hampshire, @gmail.com. I don't have my phone number there.
You got a Facebook website,
I have,
right?
yeah, my Facebook website is JP Marzullo for State Representative. And you'll see some of the things I've put in there to give people a chance to know who I am, what I stand for. not everyone's going to want to vote for me, but I'll listen to people and still not break my core values.
JP,
Let's say that again. Let's do the email address again, just to make it clear.
Yep,
'cause
it's
you said
JP
for New Hampshire, the whole
It's JP4NH.
for NH.
Right, at gmail.
At gmail.com.
Yep.
That's great.
Thanks.
I was only up there in Concord serving the people of Nashua for 2 years. I learned a ton while I was there. Got to know this lunatic. He's now become one of my best friends. God help me.
Lunatic. You hear that?
And I also got you something else really nice. But the point I'm making is that
Lunatic.
I observed a lot of people doing their thing. There's 400 of them, okay? And the most effective, irrespective of their party affiliation or any of that stuff, were the people that were there on a mission. Their heart was full of hope and a drive to get something done that was important to the people. And those were the people who engaged with their whole mind and their whole heart because they were there for a purpose. And I will tell you, they make some of the best reps. This person's on a mission, so consider him.
Thank you.
well,
Appreciate it.
Okay, well, I just want to say he's running against me,
No, he's not.
so I'm not going to
It's musical
endorse
chairs.
him.
There's several chairs.
But I will say,
wrong with you?
JP, break a leg.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Speaking of
Thanks
the
for
Not
having
in the
me.
Italian sense.
In the theater sense. I get it.
Theatrical. Hey, thank you.
Thank you, man.
Thanks, buddy.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
break out its
Been fun,
Louisville
man.
Slugger and break a leg, you know? It's like,
Not in the Italian.
Not
way.
until we get
piss him
home.
off.
And you got to get a ride home first.
That's right.
That's right.
Thanks for joining us, folks. It's been a hoot.